Hello, thank you for being here today. While we have people coming on, I'd like to just take a second and introduce myself. One thing I'll say now, and I'll remind you later, if you have questions or comments, go ahead and drop them below. And if I don't get to them today, I will definitely get to them either online or in another episode like this, because today's going to be something a little different. I'm doing a Q&A, and so we'll see how this works, because I don't even know what the cues are. So we'll see how it goes first. But while everybody's coming on, in case we haven't met before, I'm Kelly Howard. I am the fitness consistency expert with a touch of adventure. I got that title because I believe that fitness consistency, not fitness perfection, but fitness consistency is the thing that takes us from where we are to where we want to be. And I also believe that we need to have, for me, it's adventure, but fun. We need to have fun. We need to have adventure. We need to have things that shake life up a little bit and get it exciting. So that's where the touch of adventure came from. So thank you so much for being there once again, or being here. Once again, I'm Kelly, and I appreciate it. So today we have a special episode, or hopefully it's a special episode, because it's kind of a little different. So what I asked the people on my team to pull some of the questions that we're getting and put them into a document. Like, pull them, stick them into a document. I haven't actually gone through the document, partially because if I prepare, then I'm going to talk a whole lot longer than I would off the cuff. And also, sometimes it's good just to like do a little free flow. Well, it'd be good if I could even say the word. Do a little free flow. And if it doesn't work out, then the next Q&A will be quite scripted, I promise. But for today, here's what we've got. So I'm just going to go through the list that they've given me. I'm pulling it up on my computer, and let's have a chat. So the first question is, when the weather changes, I lose my momentum. Got it. Okay, this is a normal one. Okay, and first, I just have to be a little facetious and kind of funny at the same time. Like, it's not like we don't know it's coming. It's true. It's like, I live in Texas, and it's not like we don't know that in the middle of summer it's going to be freaking hot. But every year, everybody's like, oh my gosh, it got so hot, I can't go outside. And it happens to us, right? My clients who live in the north, this time of year when I'm recording this, it tends to be pretty darn cold, right? And it throws us off. I mean, that's all it is it just throws us off of our usual. And so a couple of things I can suggest. Like, one of them is we have to prepare for it. Okay. I mean, there are ways to prepare for it too. And I'm going to just, not to go too deep, but I'll just give you a few preps real quick. One of them is that, like, if it's cold outside, all right, and this is something that I used to teach people all the time when we were doing a lot of long distance training for bike rides. If it's cold outside, it's cold, it's miserable, it's nasty. The last thing you want to do when you get in your car to drive to that bike ride is to turn on the heater. Okay. It's the first thing everyone wants to do. It's the last thing you need to do, because we've got to acclimate. It's just like for me, when I was talking about Texas being really hot in the summer, you can't just turn on the air conditioning, go to the hill that you're going to hike or whatever it is, drive to the gym, doesn't matter what you're doing, and be all cold and cool from that air conditioning, or all warm and snuggly from the heater, and then get out, you'll be twice as miserable. So think about acclimating, okay? Think about acclimating, even like if you're not going to drive somewhere. Maybe the acclimation is simply shorter times outside, okay? Shorter times outside will actually get you acclimated to that weather quicker. And then the other one is, this too shall pass, guys. It always does, okay? So keep that in mind. Like, if it's really nasty, it's going to change. And that doesn't answer her first question, which is, let me get the question back very quickly. When the weather changes, I lose my momentum. I'm going to say she probably loses By that, she means she quits doing the things that she was doing, which is probably what she means by momentum. So be prepared. Have other things to do. Okay. I can give you a great example in my life from this last weekend. We had, so we've been not having rain. We've been in drought for a while. So we've gotten kind of used to this. Okay. We've gotten kind of used to the fact that you can go out pretty much anytime and it's not going to rain on you. But when it rains here, it rains. And so we had 3 days of torrential downpour. So first day, no problem. I've got my indoor exercise. I do it, lifting my weights, fine. Next day, I think, oh, well, I think I'll move my tomorrow's weight over and do that. So I've got 2 days of weights in a row, no problem. Third day, well, it's still raining like all the cats and dogs out there. And I have in my schedule that I'm adhering to for a purpose, I have an hour walk. Well, actually it was an hour hike, but it was too darn wet on the trails to go out and hike. So I threw on the rain jacket and went out, and I did what I would normally have done. It wasn't pleasant, but really, you know what? It wasn't that bad once I got going. So just realize that sometimes you just have to suck it up and do things. But you also want to make sure that you prepare, and that, I mean, this is a completely different podcast, and I'm sure I've done one on it, but that you have the right gear. Okay. I mean, it was easy for me to go out and do that walk in the rain because I had the right gear for it. If I hadn't had the right gear, I had only had like, I don't know, cotton jogger pants and, a bad rain jacket, I wouldn't have done it probably because it would have been too miserable. So prep when you can, get acclimated as quickly as you can, find new things to do. Okay. We didn't even really talk about that, but just think about it. Find new things to do. And if it takes you a week to get your momentum back, it's not going to kill you, but just give yourself a week and then make sure you get your momentum back. All right, there we go. I said I'd be long-winded if I was prepped. We may cut our Q&A short today. Okay, so the next question I have is, this is from Sarah, and she says, I'm getting by, but I'm not getting better. And by that, I'm going to assume that what she means is that she's getting by doing exercising, but that the fitness that she's doing right now isn't improving her the way she'd like to improve. And that's, that's super common. I will say one thing, and that is, well, I'll say two things. I'll probably say 20 actually. Sorry. So first thing I'm going to say is that I do have a podcast coming up in a couple of weeks where I'm going to address this whole the idea of not getting better and how to work with that, because it's a big deal, especially as the new year looms. We start thinking more and more about that. But when we realize that we're getting by, we're doing our exercises, we're doing the exercise that we say we're going to do, but nothing's changing, then it comes back to that old saying. And I will butcher that saying, but you'll know what I'm talking about. It's basically, you can't expect different results if you've been doing the same thing again and again. Okay. And we all know this, but it doesn't always sink in. Okay. Because sometimes we think that we just need to try a little harder, push a little further, go cardio, do your cardio for just a little longer, whatever it is. We just have to, do things a little bit more. And instead of doing things a little bit more, I think a lot of times it comes down to being a little bit smarter. Okay. Like, we have all this wisdom, right? We've got these bodies we've been hanging out in for a very long time. We know them, right? We do know them. And we know that if we've been doing something, even like, let's say it's something that, your fitness trainer or your doctor or your best friend, whoever it is, said that this is the right thing for you to do, but it's not working, then it's time for change. Okay. It's so simple and it's so hard to do, right? Because especially when we get into a routine, of doing the same thing again and again and again, and we don't see a lot of a difference, then what happens is that we don't initially think of, let's stop and reset and think this whole project over again. We think, either I must be doing something wrong, or you know what? I'm just at that age. We hear this way too much, ladies, way too much. I'm just at this age that nothing's going to change. And I call baloney on that. Okay. Total baloney. So think about this. One of them is that if things aren't changing, then you just have to really first look at what you're doing. Assess, right? Assess. What are you doing all the way around? And that means, what's your movement look like? What's your sleep look like? What's your mindset look like? What does your motivation look like? And what does your movement look like? Like, just do a quick assessment, look it over. And then if you're not sure where the gaps are, find someone who can talk to you. Like, you can jump on a 15-minute discovery call with me. The link is always in our show notes. You can do that. I'm happy to look at what you're doing and give you some ideas. Done. Because I can see them. You know how easy it is for someone else to see things that you can't see. It's just the way we are, because when we're really in our stuff, we don't see it so much. And let me tell a story on myself. So you may have heard me talk about this before, but I've been plant-based for a very, very long time. And I've also known that I probably need to get more protein. Okay? Probably need to get more protein. And it was always that thing that was like slip into the bottom of my food list. Oh gosh, no more tofu. Please save me. Not another protein powder or another protein bar. Like, I just don't feel like it right now. Hey, I'm not perfect, trust me. I'm in this with you. So I know this, but do I change? No. And I realized that when I went back, finally got serious about lifting again, right? And I'm lifting weights, but I'm not seeing change. Like, I'm seeing little teeny weeny increments, but I'm not seeing anything really. And it all went through my head, every bit of it that I just said. Oh my gosh, maybe I'm too old. Maybe it's never going to change now. Maybe this is the end. Like, we just get this crap in our heads. Sorry, but that's the truth. So went through all that. Luckily, I sped through it pretty quick. And then I did two things. One of them was I looked at everything that I just talked to you about, which is I looked at my sleep. My sleep is great. Looked at my mindset. My mindset's pretty darn good. I looked at my food and I went, oh, that protein thing. I keep trying to forget about that. And then I talked to my personal trainer and he's like, yeah, so have you ever started taking the protein that you told me you were going to take? And I'm like, no, I haven't. So long rambling story short, what I did was I said, okay, I am committing. He wanted me to take, a ridiculous amount of protein. I'm like, not happening. Okay. It's not happening because I know I'm not going to be able to do what you're asking me to do, at least not right now, because it's a learning curve for me. But I am willing to commit to, I think I committed to, I said 90 to 100 grams of protein a day for starters. And it was a learning process, right? I had to figure out how it worked, how it was going to work in my diet. And then once I started learning, really figuring it out, then the other thing is that's when I started noticing things were changing a little bit more. And anytime we have a change that we can see or that we can feel, then it's so much better, right? It's just so much easier to stick to it. So that was my learning process. And I was able to take it from there to increasing it a little bit more. And just like, I'm not somebody who, it's not that I'm adverse to changing things overnight. I think if we can do it, it's great, but it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you have to look at what's not working and then start trying incremental changes, small little steps until you start realizing things are changing. So, all right. I think I'm only going to get to 3 questions today because I am definitely chatting it up today. Oh, actually, the next 2 questions pretty much are the same question. And the first one is, I don't like exercising. I don't think that's a question. I think that's a statement, actually. And then the one after that is, I know I need strength training, but I hate to go to the gym. So once again, statement, not question. So let me just suggest a couple of things. If you don't like exercising, it probably means, not always, but it probably means you're not doing the right stuff. Okay? And when I say the right stuff, I mean the right stuff for you. If we aren't having fun, if we aren't enjoying what we're doing, it is really, really difficult to make ourselves do it day in and day out. And even if we do make ourselves do it day in and day out, it's really difficult to make it as effective as it could be. Okay? Because when we're, just think about this one for a second. When we bring all of ourselves to something, right? Like we're all in. When we're all in, then we play differently. We show up differently. We act differently. Okay? Versus when we're doing the thing that we need to do, but it's, we don't really care. So it's kind of half-ass, quite frankly, probably usually a whole lot half-ass. So think about that. If you don't like exercising, then what can you do that involves movement that you could enjoy? Okay, and we're going to come back to that one, because the other one is if you don't like the gym, that's the easiest one in the world. Like, there are probably 250 million videos out there on how to create a very simple, cheap home gym. Okay, you don't need much. Like, my home gym is not much, I can tell you that. It's a bench, it's some resistance bands, it's a mat, and barbells. Not even barbells, dumbbells, right? And 1 kettlebell. That's it. That's all I got. And my barbells are something that I can like switch out the weights on it. And a couple of wrist weights, just to be able to increase my weights, like small amounts if I want to go up small amounts. That's it. Less than $200. You can have a home gym that takes up no more than, say, a 5x5 square place in your house somewhere. Really simple. So you don't have to go to the gym to do strength training, but you do have to have a plan. Okay, and that one is something for a different day. But we can come back to that on another podcast. But for right now, just the whole idea of I don't like exercising. If it's true that you really don't like exercising and that you don't like moving, then really you're probably listening to the wrong podcast. You're probably in the wrong group. It's just like, sorry. But if it's just that you don't have the right exercise, look around, like try all these different things that are out there. I mean, there are so many fun things to do. You can look at the rec center in your local area if the weather's too bad right now. You can get the bike out of your garage that has been gathering dust, take it over to the local bike shop, have them do a little maintenance on it, and tootle around the neighborhood. You can get a new pair of hiking boots and go find a couple of trails near you. There are so many things that we can do that they're fun, right? So just like, don't look at exercise as something that is torture and a requirement, a should, right? Look at it as something like, if there was something I was going to do that was fun, or if there was something that I have always wanted to try. Like, that's my favorite. Like, what do I want to try? Like, sometimes, like, over in my life, I've gotten bored with certain things that I do. I found that, I don't feel like going stand-up paddleboarding. Like, I don't feel like going to the lake and going stand-up paddleboarding. But I will go down to the beach and try it just because it's different, right? And it's painful because I'm really bad on the waves. But, and that's more of a summer sport, but there's just so many different things. Like, if there's something that you're not enjoying, try something different. Okay. And like I said, this has gone on longer than I was going to take and take time of your day. I hope that while you're listening to this, you're out doing something fun. But in the meanwhile, think about, especially for those people who aren't too excited about exercising or they're not too excited about the movement, what are some things that you've always wanted to try? Like, what's something you've always wanted to try? I get a lot of people that are like, I've always wanted to try kayaking. Oh man, kayaking, unless it's freezing outside, does not have to be only a summer sport. Kayaking, I find that women are really good at. Women are naturally good in a kayak. And the reason is that we have good posture. We treat the boat like it's part of us. And I promise we're not going to go down the whole kayaking path right now, because you know me. I will talk about paddling all day long. But we're really good at some things, or else just like getting out in the woods, anything you're doing that you can get out and enjoy more, it's going to be better for your body and your brain. And there's so many great like Pilates classes and yoga classes and Peloton. I can't even say it. Peloton. I know that's not the right way to say it. Somebody's correct me. But there's like so many great videos out there too. Like there's tons of people to learn from. So don't ever feel like, if you can, try not to ever feel like the fact that you aren't enjoying or aren't doing things that are enjoyable. Instead, let me rephrase that. Instead of saying it that way, let me say it this way. Instead of feeling like the only exercise that you can do is the stuff that you've been told is the right stuff to do, find the things that make you feel good. That's the way that you can really, really like pull all of this together. All of the stuff I talk about all the time, which is, all around the consistency and, taking care of ourselves and feeling good. What makes us feel good is when we find things that we love to do and then we do them. That's it. And we'll get better and better and better at them until one day you go, you know what? I love doing that, but I want to up my game. I want to try something different. That's where all this goes. Okay. This is a long game. Like we're here to play some. Like most of us have spent a large portion of our lives working very, very hard and taking care of everyone else. And I would like more than anything for you now to find things that you love to do. You can still take care of yourself, other people. You can still work really hard, but find time for you. Find time to enjoy yourself and find the things that really light you up. So thank you so much for being here today. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I will talk to you later. Bye-bye now.